Organizational meeting. Since part of the organizational meeting is election of officers, I'll get the meeting started as the superintendent. So if you could please stand for the pledge.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So the first order of business will be to call for nominations for president.
I nominate Greg Keller.
All right, hang on one second. I got that. You'll go first. I just wanted to let the audience know the process. The first thing I'll do is I will call for the nomination of the president. Once all nominations have been made with a support, I'll call for a vote for the office of the president in order in which nominations were received. Once a candidate has gotten 4 votes, the president-elect will assume the chair and then commence the rest of the meeting and go through the nominations and elections of vice president, secretary, and treasurer. So we will open the nominations, and I heard Glenn. Glenn, you nominate Mr. Keller for president.
Yeah.
Is there a support?
Support.
Mr. Scott is a support. Are there any other nominations for the office of president?
I nominate Kristen Coleman for the office of president.
Ms. Shaw, is that for Mrs. Coleman? And is there a support?
Support.
Support by Mr. Campbell. Are there any other nominations for the office of president? None being offered, we'll go back to the very first motion. Glenn, if you would read the motion, and we'll go forward with that.
I nominate Greg Keller for the office of president. Motion. I move that.
Okay.
We nominate Greg Keller for the office of president.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Gogolewski, supported by
Support.
Mr. Scott. So the first motion on the table, motion by Mr. Gogolewski, supported by Mr. Scott, that the Board of Education appoints Mr. Keller to serve as the president of the Hartland Consolidated Schools Board of Education. So, is there any discussion on that nomination?
Yeah, I have a few things I'd like to say. You know, I really respect Mr. Keller and his role as treasurer over the last year. I think he's done a great job, especially lately. I think he's done a great job at kind of trying to unite the board. I also look back at some of the decisions and votes that Mr. Keller has made over the last few years, and where he's really showed backbone and leadership. One that comes to mind is when this board voted last September on bringing the Joe Biden Department of Justice into our school district. It was approved by a vote of 4-3, and Mr. Keller is one that stood up against that, gave a lot of reasons why we shouldn't kowtow to the Department of Justice and let them continue to interfere with our schools. Even though that vote failed that day, and this board did sign an agreement with the Department of Justice to force DEI training on our students. Thank God, everything that's happened since has reversed that awful decision that this board made. But I can't stop thinking back to that day and how, despite the pressure from people at this table, despite the pressure from other forces, despite the pressure of having the US government stand over you with a pen and a piece of paper and try to force you to sign it, he stood up against that. And it is, as I said, everyone will agree today that was the right decision. Now that the Justice Department has turned over, the Department of Justice has backed off, the Department of Education has stepped in, but he made the right decision on that day, and so did Mr. Gogolewski. But he's the one, I think, that that deserve that president role because he really showed leadership on that day. And not very many people would stand up under that immense pressure. So when I look for a president, I want someone who's going to stand up for all the parents and all the students in this community, no matter what the pressure is. I want them to try to make decisions and guide the board in a way that's going to be right for our students, for our parents, for our community, for the educational outcomes of those students. And I have confidence that Mr. Keller will be able to do that.
Any other discussion? None heard. We'll start the vote, starting with Ms. Custodio. Ms. Custodio, do you support the nomination?
No.
No by Ms. Custodio. Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Yes by Mr. Scott. Mr. Gogolewski?
Yes.
Yes by Mr. Gogolewski. Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Well, okay, yes by Mr. Keller. I could just jump over to you and put you in order. Ms. Coleman?
No.
No by Mrs. Coleman. Ms. Shaw?
No.
No by Ms. Coleman. Mr. Campbell?
No.
No by Mr. Campbell. That motion fails 3-4 or 4-3. All right, go to the next nomination. Mrs. Shaw, will you read that nomination?
I move that the Board of Education appoints Kristen Coleman to serve as president of the Hartland Consolidated Schools Board of Education.
And supported by?
Support.
By Mr. Campbell. Any discussion? No discussion being heard. We'll vote. We'll start with Ms. Custodio again. Ms. Custodio?
Yes.
Yes by Ms. Custodio. Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Yes by Mr. Scott. Mr. Gogolewski?
Yes.
Yes by Mr. Gogolewski. Ms. Coleman?
Yes.
Yes by Ms. Coleman. Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Yes by Mr. Keller. Ms. Shaw?
Yes.
Yes by Ms. Shaw. Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Yes by Mr. Campbell. That passes 7-0. I turn the gavel over to Ms. Coleman. Congratulations, President of the Board.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you to my fellow trustees for your support. I appreciate it. And thank you for all the conversations that I've had with each of you over the last week or two regarding all of this. I appreciate it. All right, moving on. A call for nominations for vice president.
I motion to nominate Greg Keller as vice president.
Is there a second?
Support.
Okay, Mr. Gogolewski has nominated Mr. Keller, supported by Mr. Scott. Any other nominations for vice president?
I nominate Cindy Shaw for vice president.
Their support? I'll support that. So Mr. Campbell has nominated Mrs. Shaw, supported by Mrs. Coleman. Any other nominations? Okay, nominations for vice president are closed. We'll move to the first motion. Mr. Gogolewski, if you could read the motion.
Yes, I motion to nominate Greg Keller for the office of vice president.
Okay, support?
Support.
Okay. Okay. Any discussion? Okay. Hearing none, we'll proceed with the vote. Ms. Custodio?
No.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Gogolewski?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw?
No.
Mr. Campbell?
No.
And I am a no. We'll move on to the next. That feels 3-4. All right. Mr. Campbell, could you read your motion, please?
I motion to nominate Cindy Shaw for the office of vice president.
Okay, so noted. Oh, and I'll support. All right. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. Ms. Custodio?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
No.
Mr. Gogolewski?
No.
Mr. Keller?
No.
Mrs. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
And I am a yes. That motion carries. Moving on to the office of secretary. I open nominations for secretary.
I nominate Jeff Campbell for the office of secretary.
Okay. Mrs. Shaw,
I will second that.
okay. Nominates Mr. Campbell, supported by Mrs. Custodio. Any other nominations?
I nominate Glenn Gogolewski as secretary.
Okay. Mr. Scott, nominating Mr. Gogolewski. Do I hear support?
Support.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for secretary? All right, hearing none. Mrs. Shaw, could you read the first motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education appoints Jeff Campbell to serve as secretary of the Hartland Consolidated Schools Board of Education.
Do I hear support?
Yes.
Okay. So Mrs. Shaw has moved to appoint Mr. Campbell, supported by Ms. Custodio. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. Ms. Custodio?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
No.
Mr. Gogolewski?
No.
Mr. Keller?
No.
Mrs. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Motion passes. So we do not need to go on to the second nomination for secretary. We'll move on to the office of treasurer. Opening nominations.
I nominate Greg Keller for treasurer.
I'll second.
So motion by Mr. Scott, supported by Ms. Custodio, for Mr. Keller for the position of treasurer. Are there any other nominations? Okay, Mr. Scott, can you read that motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education appoints Greg Keller to serve as treasurer on the Hartland Consolidated Schools Board of Education.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Second.
Oh, sorry. So motion by Mr. Scott, support by Ms.
Yes.
Ms. Custodio, for Mr. Keller to serve as treasurer. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Ms. Custodio?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Gogolewski?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw?
No.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. That passes 6-1. Okay, and that concludes board elections. Thank you, everybody. Moving on to item 1C, approval of agenda items for discussion.
I'd like to remove the authorization of designees for treasurer and secretary responsibilities from the consent agenda.
That is item 8 under 1D.
Does the motion need to be read first before you can amend the agenda?
Yeah, well,
I don't think you need any approval to remove from the consent agenda, but I don't know.
you don't, but we're motioning for the
Okay,
overall agenda.
okay.
We haven't read the consent agenda
Okay,
motion, so I
that's
think we
fine.
need to sit on that till we get to item 1D. Does that make sense? I'm
So-
sorry? I didn't hear what you said. Oh, sure. It was already read once. Can you read it again, the first motion?
Me? I didn't make
Oh,
a
you
motion.
didn't? Okay, my bad.
I don't think we need a motion to remove. I think anybody can remove an item from the consent agenda, but we may need a motion to approve the agenda
In
and
order
then
to-
remove
yeah.
it, yes.
I think it has to be the topic of discussion before we can make an adjustment to it. All right, so we're back to 1C, approval of agenda items for discussion.
I move that the agenda for the July 21st, 2025 regular organizational meeting be approved.
Okay, motion by Mrs. Shaw, supported by
Support.
Mr. Campbell. Okay, any discussion on the approval of the agenda?
I would like to remove authorization of designees for treasurer and secretary responsibilities from the consent agenda.
Okay, and I agree, Mr. Scott, that you don't need a second for that, being that it's just pulling it out of the consent agenda, and we'll address it separately after the consent agenda.
I move to add an item 3B for discussion, which is the resolution I shared with the board about 2 weeks ago, titled Resolution Requiring Searchable PDF Format Documents for Administrative Documents. Move that be added to discussion, and it would be 3B.
And I'm sorry, can you read that one more time for me, please? The name of it.
The resolution that I sent out to the board was titled Resolution Requiring Searchable PDF Format Documents for Administrative Documents.
Resolution requiring PDF searchable documents. Resolution. Are you content if I leave the wording in here abbreviated?
Sure, yeah.
So if I say, motion to add the resolution requiring PDF searchable documents?
Perfect.
I think we all know what we're talking about there.
Absolutely.
Okay. From the table, is there someone who seconds that motion?
Support.
I will give support to Mr. Keller. I heard that one first. Okay. Any discussion?
I mean, just so the audience is aware, so I know everybody at the board table is, but I had shared a resolution with the entire board about 10 days ago, which is simply asking for documents received by the board and those shared with the public for these meetings to be in a searchable PDF format, which is a little more user-friendly. Currently, a lot of what we see is documents saved as images rather than text. It becomes very difficult to be able to search for anything in your email, and it's very difficult for members of the community to participate with some of these meetings with large picture documents rather than text. So I'm asking that we have a discussion about improving the searchability of our documents for the board and for the community.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, hearing none. Ms. Custodio?
Yes.
Oh, wait, actually, I would like to reread the motion to make it clear. Mr. Scott has motioned to add the resolution requiring PDF searchable documents, and Mr. Keller supported this motion. We're now voting on the motion. Please restate your vote.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Gogolewski?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. All right, so this will now be item 3B for discussion. Okay. Any further discussion related to the original motion on the table, which was presented by Mrs. Shaw, seconded by Mr. Campbell, for the agenda?
Just would like to get some clarification first on the action item 2A, which is the strategic plan, where we are going to be looking at the vision, the mission, the beliefs, and the goals. I did want to get some clarification around the goals. I think at our last meeting, we talked about specifically goal statements is what's going to be on the table for this meeting. And then we talked about having a separate discussion this month around the objectives. And I don't see that on the agenda, so is that something,
I don't.
can you clarify what the goals piece of this action item is intended to represent?
The goals, as I understand, that are outlined in the strategic plan as presented. I don't know if you have anything further to add to that, Mr. Hughes?
Just doing the goals,
Yep,
Goal statements or objectives?
just the goal statements.
goal statements.
Okay, thank
So
you.
it's the goal statements, the vision, the belief statement, but it is not the objectives.
Thank you. Then I have nothing further to add.
Okay. Any further discussion on the approval of the agenda? Hearing none. Ms. Custodio?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Gogolewski?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Motion carries. Item 1D, consent agenda.
I move that we remove the adoption of Board of Education meeting dates for 25, 26, simply because I have a conflict with the next date.
Okay. So we can take it out of the consent agenda, and then we can vote on that separately?
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Oh, wait. You didn't have a motion. We didn't have the motion. All right, we need to sit
The
on
motion
that.
wasn't read.
What's that?
The motion wasn't read.
The motion wasn't read. Could somebody please read the consent agenda motion before we jump ahead?
I move that the consent agenda for the July 21st, 2025 regular meeting be approved.
Is there
Support.
support? Thank you. Okay. Can you please restate?
Yes.
Thank you.
I move that we remove the adoption of Board of Education meeting dates for 25, 26.
Okay. Thank you. Any further discussion or changes to the consent agenda?
So both 7 and 8 have been removed then?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Ms. Custodio?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Gogoleski?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Motion carries 7-0. So we'll need to read as separate motions, item 7 and item 8. Mr. Gogoleski, would you like to read a motion? Given that you don't want to proceed with that tonight, or I don't know if you want to make an amendment to what was presented?
I was hoping to make an amendment to one of the dates.
Perfect. So if
So-
we can get a motion on the table, then we can talk about an amendment.
I motion to move a date for the next meeting from the proposed agenda, schedule,
Are we talking August 11th or August 4th?
August 11th.
Sorry, as a point of order, shouldn't those actually be moved to action items? So what was originally 1D8, shouldn't that now become 2D? And then the 1D7, which was the adoption of the education meeting minutes, that should become 2E? And we would take that in that order?
It was my understanding that since they're part of the consent agenda, they would be addressed prior to that. But this is the first time we've run into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think according to Roberts, we would want to just move those as separate action items and take them at that time.
I'm fine with that, but we have a motion on the table. He's read a motion, so I feel like we need to address it, or you need to rescind your motion. And we'll come to it later if we set them up as, we add them to the action item section of the agenda.
I motion that we add it to the action item of the agenda as the last
Okay,
discussion
You
item.
have to rescind your prior motion to change the date.
Okay, I rescind my prior motion to change the date.
Support.
Thank you.
So that would make number 7 action item 2D.
Yes.
Number 8 would be action item 2E.
Yeah, you got to flip them.
E and D, yes. So Kristen, you've got that?
2D is authorization of designees for treasurer and
Number 8,
secretary.
yep.
And then item 2E
Meeting dates.
is adoption of meeting dates. Moving on to 1E, superintendent's report.
Yes. First of all, let me congratulate Danielle Custodio to the board table. Great to have you. You were placed on the board in a unanimous 6-0 vote, and I'm sure that you'll work hard to collaborate with each other and make this board that much better. So welcome, good to have you, and I look forward to getting to know you. Absolutely. I have a number of things tonight. Just a reminder to the community that we do have district back to school would be August 14th, and of course for the students will be August 18th. So that's not that far down the road, 4 more weeks for our students to return. I do want to introduce our new staff. So we have a number of new staff members. We'll start with the middle school, Mr. Chanavir. We had Mr. Gallardi, who was approved last meeting but was out of town. So Mr. Chanavir, if you would.
Good evening, everyone. Chris Shenever, assistant principal at the middle school. It's great to be here tonight. Hopefully summers are going well. Looking forward to what's to come here. It's coming up quick. We had a thorough interview process and a lot of strong candidates. And the one that stood out and came right to the top was Mr. Joe Bernardi. He comes with years of experience. He's got a family in the district, and I know his passion for teaching and the way he connects with kids is going to be a true asset to what we have here in Hartland, and we look forward to having him in the Hartland family, especially at the middle school. So he'll be teaching social studies, 7th grade. Joe Bernardi.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chenevier, for the kind words. I just wanted to say thank you to the board for having this opportunity to come and greet you all. And yeah, as Mr. Chenevier said, I grew up in this community and grew up going through Hartland schools and stuff, so I'm super excited to be back here and just be part of this community that I've loved my whole life. So thank you very much.
Also had a hire at the last meeting. Mr. Reck, if you would bring your new hire up and introduce.
Good evening, everyone. I am very proud to present Allison Dickey, who will be joining our team at Village in 1st grade. Allison's a Western Michigan grad. Student taught in Chelsea and was so good they couldn't let her go, and she stayed on, did a long-term sub. So just like Chris mentioned in his interview process, Allison rose to the top for us. Is going to be a fantastic member of our 1st grade team and our building. So welcome, Allison.
Thank you so much to all of you guys, and I can't wait to be a part of Village Elementary staff and work alongside such amazing colleagues. Thank you, guys.
Unfortunately, Ms. Brisky and Mr. Yurk are out of town, so Ms. Gregory, if you would introduce our new hires at Farms.
All right, we're going to do both of them here at the same time. So Mrs. Brisky was kind enough to send me her words of what she would have shared about these lovely ladies. So Mrs. Cotty, Nicole is a recent graduate from Michigan State University. During her interview, she was very professional and expressed her love for teaching. In addition, we believe Nicole will be a true asset to Farms, as she has also had a special ed degree in the area of learning disabilities. She completed her student teaching both in a general education and a special education classroom and fell in love with the general education teacher role. The team sees her as an amazing fit for Farms, and we cannot wait to collaborate around interventions and specific academic strategies that will help all learners. Welcome to Farms, Nicole. And then we also have Emily Dancer. Emily comes to Hartland with many years of experience as a classroom teacher and is also a former curriculum coordinator. During her interview with the team, they were very impressed when she described a typical day in her math classroom. Her teaching strategies align with the Farms mission that all students can succeed when making the instructional match. During the second phase of her interview, she conducted a math lesson that mimics the structure we have been implementing at Farms to ensure our fifth graders master the curriculum. Emily will bring many talents to the Farms fifth grade math and science departments. Welcome to Emily.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm really excited to be a part of Hartland Schools.
Likewise, thank you so much for this opportunity. I can tell you take what you do very seriously. I'm so excited to be a part of this team and wonderful community. Thank you.
Miss Gunn, are you in? All right, come on up.
I'm pleased to introduce you to Sydney Kuchek. Sydney will be teaching kindergarten at Creekside this coming school year. She comes to us with 3 years of experience in early elementary from Springfield, Ohio. But before leaving for Ohio, she is a graduate of Hartland and has gone to Creekside herself. Our interview committee loves Sydney's enthusiasm and energy. They felt that she's a great addition to not just the kindergarten team, but to the entire Creekside staff. I talked to Sydney's previous principal, and he stated that she has joined a veteran team of teachers and was a stabilizing positive force. She has run professional development for the school, even as a brand new teacher. I talked to her other references as well. She's an extremely hard worker, a go-getter with leadership opportunities, and does an amazing job with her students, differentiating instruction and building a great rapport with her students. We're excited to bring her to the new Creekside team.
Hi, thank you, Mrs. Gunn, for those lovely words, and I am so excited for this opportunity to be back at home at Creekside and part of Hartland community, so thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ms. Gunn, you will bring McKenna before the board in August when she can be in town. So, all right, thank you. Welcome to Hartland, everyone. As I usually do, I change up my order. So what I'd like to do is ask Mr. Borg to come up and introduce our students that are here from the class of 2025 that were in the top 10. Thank you for taking time out for being here so we can recognize you. So, Mr. Borg.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Good evening, everyone. The class of 2025 was certainly a very special and talented group, and we want to take one more opportunity to celebrate them tonight before they head off to their next endeavors. As Mr. Fitzgerald stated at graduation, this class was offered more than $7.3 million in scholarships and grants. Their post-high school plans include 56 different schools, 6 apprentice programs, and 4 military branches. And our graduates are leaving us to pursue their futures in 14 different states. With that said, we would like to recognize some of those fine students, our top 10 for the class of 2025. In alphabetical order, I'd like to call up Emma Barris first. Emma is the daughter of Jennifer and Michael Barris. In the fall, Emma will attend the University of South Carolina Honors College to major in marine biology and minor in Spanish. Next is Grant Henson. Grant's parents are Amy and Michael Henson. Grant will be attending the University of Michigan Flint to study computer science. Malia Klump. Malia is the daughter of Jill and Mark Klump. Malia plans to attend Eastern Michigan University to study cybersecurity and computer science. Next is Sadie Malik. Sadie's parents are Stacy and Mark Malik. Sadie will be attending the University of Michigan Ann Arbor and plans to major in philosophy, politics, and economics on a pre-law track. Next is Ava McKegg. Ava is the daughter of Mary and Louis McKegg. Ava will also be attending the University of Michigan Ann Arbor to study biology. Connor Renault. Connor's parents are Cheryl and Richard Renault. In the fall, Connor will be attending the University of Michigan Ann Arbor to study human origins, biology, and behavior on a pre-med track. Trevor Rennie. Trevor is the son of Ann and James Rennie. Trevor will be attending the University of Michigan Ann Arbor to pursue a major in aerospace engineering. Annalise Rowe. Annalise is the daughter of Shannon and Keith Rowe. This fall, Annalise will be attending Michigan State University to study biology on a pre-med track. Sky Schluter. Sky's parents are Katie and Jeff Schluter. Sky will be attending Central Michigan University as a Centralis Scholar, double majoring in actuarial science and commercial music. And Jack Weitzel. Jack is the son of Michelle and Dean Weitzel. Jack will be attending the University of Florida, where he plans to study aerospace engineering. So as I said, this is a great group. We're certainly privileged to recognize them one more time before they shove off to their future endeavors. We certainly want to wish them the best and remind them that they always have a home here in Hartland. Great job, guys.
So I'm not trying to chase anybody off, but you do not have to stay unless you want to. So if you want to leave, and new hires, if you want to leave, right, you do not have to stay. Well, we're not yet there. We're getting to baseball in just a second here. Mr. Hassler, why don't we do this? Why don't we introduce the baseball team, then the archery team, and then you do your presentation. That way, if they want to stay for the presentation, they can. If they don't have to. How's that sound?
If the baseball team can come up, 2025 state champions. Up by Coach Gunther.
Am I standing up for him? A big accomplishment.
Didn't want to I know. We didn't for the.
Oh, but we shook their hands.
I say it's a team that didn't shy away from playing the best competition all year long. They got hot at the right time, made some very close games, very exciting games, but in the end, they got to the championship game as a team. Great individual moments throughout of individuals from the team lifting each other up to get them to that point. I think it's a cool thing is that this is the third KLAA team to win the state championship in a row. It was also the third year in a row that a team from Hartland was playing on the last day of the year. So it was softball, girls, soccer, and baseball. So for them to end the season with the state championship against the #1 team ranked in the state, and to have the statement that they did, to have the poise that they did. One of the things they kind of said, and that was in the articles, was this is so us. I mean, in their first, I think all the way up through regionals, they had 9 runs in 5 games, 4 or 5 games at that point to make it that far. So their pitching was stellar, their defense was stellar. And as a overall accomplishment, I think it was, again, 10 years from the last time the team won the state championship for Hartland. They came together, they did it the right way as a true team, and they celebrated each success along the way. So I'll have Coach Gunther come up here. Anybody, you don't have to say anything, but this is Coach Gunther, one of our own teachers. Puts a ton of hours working on the field. Him and his staff, Alex Trojan, also a teacher, Coach Calvin Gadowa, Coach Zielinski, another teacher in the building, that they put in the time and effort to help make these student athletes the best that they can be. The student athletes, again, from top to bottom, it's tough, again, in any sport. There's 9 spots on the field for playing, and you have 18, 19 kids on a team, but they stuck together, played together as a team, and ultimately came out on top.
Yeah, thank you guys for all the support, and we're happy to represent Hartland the right way, so thank you guys.
Yep.
Just want to say congratulations to all of you. Not only you guys getting a lot of attention here locally, I've also heard that folks in Lansing have invited you to the Capitol to potentially, be recognized by a bipartisan group of legislators. So I hope you all take the Representative Wolford up on his offer to go. But again, congratulations on your efforts.
And of course, you realize that the Tigers are trying to imitate you right now. Yeah, so I hope they succeed the way you guys did. Good job.
Guys, all of you, congratulations. What an amazing season. But I tell you what, it was pretty amazing to walk into this room today, and there's a whole different energy than usual that you guys brought, and I appreciate it. And you're all welcome back anytime. Every month, you feel free to come bring that energy to the board table. So thank you and congratulations.
How many outgoing seniors? Anybody playing college level?
Yes, so we have Northwood, we have Wright State, what do we have? Alma, am I correct? Let me see what else is, Wayne State.
And Frack, what's your?
And Frack's was Vincennes.
How do you say it?
Vincennes. So 5.
Nine seniors, 5 playing, 1 6 playing? 6 playing, 1 hockey, 2 doing some different things, studying and ROTC, Kettering, right, C?
Mr. Gunther, I want to thank you for, you and I every once in a while have fellowship in the weight room. We got to do a better job this next year in seeing each other in the weight room, but we've had lots of fellowship over the years. And Mr. Zielinski, certainly been a great addition to our team. And Coach, I don't know you as well as these other two, but thank you for being role models for our young people, because we talk a lot and we talk at captains meetings. We have some captains here that came to the captains meeting. We had the coaches meeting, and we talked about you build legacy by doing it the right way. You do it the right way. You follow reason, respect, and responsibility. You have the attitude, and you do it the right way. And I hope that you take that with you as you leave Hartland and pursue your dreams. And remember what I said at graduation for the students that were at graduation: be the difference makers. For those coming back, remember, you set the tone, right? You set the tone on what your program looks like and the legacy you leave behind. So I know Coach buys that, and we'll expect to see that. So congratulations.
Thank you guys for having us.
Next, we'll have Coach Shelby Erickson and the archery team. You may recognize them. Again, this is becoming second half for these guys. They were here after they won the state championship. Again, they're a kind of a dual season team. They go in the winter and the spring. So from the spring standpoint, after winning the state championship, they had the national championship. The team competed very well. They won first place, the national championship in the 3D division. We also had Asher Adams, I'm not sure if he's here or not, was first place, tied fourth. 4 individuals that tied for first place at the national championship. A phenomenal, again, that's back-to-back that we've won the national championship in 3D. From there, they went on to World Championships, was about a month ago. Finished as runner-up as the world champion for the high school division. The middle school division was first place. So again, the future's bright. I just think over the course of I don't know, how many years has it been that this program has been in?
Since 2006,
2006, 2007. You'll see it as you drive in the town that the boards that we recognize continues to grow. But I think most importantly, again, is from earlier, we talked about the scholarship money that they've gotten in participating in the sport, the recognition that they've done it. It's a year-round sport that they're doing. The dedication that they take as athletes and to compete at that high level, in and out. And really, from an athletic standpoint, they operate, again, a lot on their own. Obviously, we're not hosting meets. It's just practice and stuff, and they're traveling far away. So I'll say Coach Shelby, Coach Jellison, who's also involved, who just retired as a teacher, are phenomenal. Anything we ask from them, they're spearheading all of that with their athletes, and they do a great job in leading these young student athletes in this sport. Again, I think this is one of the cool sports. I always talk to, when students want to get involved, like you talk about golf and bowling, and I think those are longevity sports. Like, this is a longevity sport. It's something that they can take with them, not when they're done in high school, but forever. Hopefully one day they can be giving back and teaching some of our own student athletes how to, with the 3D competition, and what's the other one? Bullseye. So, and again, I just think the opportunity that it affords, it's not always, we talk, obviously we're doing the spring athletes. There's always a lot of the big sports that we'll see, and you get everybody at the football games that come out. But I think there's so many good sports at Hartland that deserve the honor and deserve the recognition, and this is just another one of those sports that continues to achieve year after year at a very high level. And I'm super proud of them and everything they've done. I'm glad they're able to come out, obviously in the summer here. It's a time commitment for them to do that, but it's great to honor them here. I don't know if you guys want to see anything, Coach?
I just want to thank all of the board members for your support, and without you, this program wouldn't be here. Without Coach Jellison, Mr. Jellison, he helped start up this program. He started this program in 2007, 2006, and they've continued to grow since then. And I'm truly grateful to be their coach, and I am extremely proud of all of them as individuals and as a team. So thank you for being a part of this journey.
Any questions, comments?
Yeah, congratulations again. For those who aren't familiar, can you quickly describe what is 3D archery versus, I can sort of anticipate what our bullseye would be, but what makes it 3D?
So there are 6 different animal targets, and they range from different distances. So they start at a 10-meter distance, and then they go to 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So they shoot at a turkey, a coyote, a bear, a pronghorn, a whitetail, a ram, and so they get to shoot and rotate through those targets. So each round is of 5 arrows, and the total score is out of 300. So just with the bullseye tournament, the total score is out of 300. One of our archers actually shot a 298 out of 300. So Jaden Beaushaw, congratulations to him. But yes, that's what makes it 3D, is they shoot at actual like foam 3D targets. And then for bullseye, it's a 80 centimeter, 10 ring target. And they shoot 3 rounds of 5 arrows at 10 meters, and then 3 rounds of 5 arrows at 15, making that score out of 300 again. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So do the middle schoolers and the high schoolers practice together?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we have separate practice times, but we all practice on the same days. And then there are different days where we'll do like mentor shooting, where the high school will shoot with elementary will shoot with middle school. We'll kind of rotate that just to see how they shoot together, and gives them something to look forward to.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really like the idea of having wider age ranges, practicing together, being together. I think it does a lot for both ends of the spectrum, and something a little more unique when a lot of times in the school you're just surrounded by people within a couple years difference. But I really love the idea of expanding that like we do in robotics and some other organizations. That's really cool. I love catching up on you guys' events with Facebook. It's something I always look forward to. I think your uniforms are awesome, and they always stand out in the pictures. And you guys did a phenomenal job. Congratulations. Keep it up, and thank you very much for representing Hartland like that.
And I think one of the things too is you don't really grasp the size of it. I think at nationals there's over 20,000 archers, right? So the fact that we're having that rate of success in that big of an environment says something for this program as well.
Big congrats. And for those of you that actually hunt during bow season, remember venison steaks make great gifts for board members, okay? So, just so you know.
I'd ask same question, how many outgoing seniors, and is there opportunity collegiate level or local sports clubs so they can continue their skill?
So I had 4 seniors this year, and 2 of them will be continuing on with archery. We have Ethan Solaris. He's going to Michigan State, and he'll be hopefully working with their program. It is a club sport there. And then we do have Megan Ofer. She's starting at U of M Flint, but then eventually transferring to Ann Arbor. They do have an archery team there.
Thank you all. I can tell you honestly, since this program started, I have never, as a superintendent or a high school principal, been pulled into any issues whatsoever within archery. And so what you guys do and how you do it, you heard me say about the baseball team, we do it the right way, we build legacy the right way, you all do it. So thank you very much for representing Hartland the way you represent us. We appreciate it.
I think that's it, guys. Thank you. And with only 4 seniors, that's a lot coming back for next year too, so. Thank you, guys. All right. All right, on to the Hartland Athletics Spring Report. Spring athletics by the numbers, we had over 421 participants at the high school level, 284 10th through 12th grade, and 137 freshmen. 137 participants in boys and girls track at the middle school program, one of our biggest programs there. Obviously, archery, baseball, boys golf, 2 lacrosses, soccer, softball, tennis, track, and boys volleyball. So 11 varsity programs, 1 middle school program, 23 total teams. Here's just a track of the numbers through the last 3 years. You can see archery's going up, baseball's stayed the same, boys golf stayed the same. Boys lacrosse down a little bit, but girls lacrosse made a big jump this year. We had a new coach there, had some great success, which we'll talk about. Girls soccer staying similar, softball making a little jump, girls tennis going up, track very high numbers, and boys volleyball. Again, excellence in the classroom. Again, we've always talked about this. This seems to be pretty much a set kind of standard across the board. So Hartland Scholar Athlete Award, which goes to JV and varsity. First semester 3.0 GPA or higher. We had 79% of our student athletes that achieved that mark. KLAA Scholar Athlete Award winners, which is varsity only. Cumulative 3.25 GPA or higher. 67% of our kids. This does exclude freshman student athletes. Unfortunately, we do have some great student athletes, but I think it also gives them something to work toward as they're going through high school. And again, we always talk, the biggest thing is it's student athletes. No one's going pro right out of high school. And to take that opportunity to have those grades to help you as you go on is something very important. And I think it works well with our staff, our teachers, our administration that are all on board and helping these students become the best they can be on the field and in the classroom. 29 members of the class of 2025 have signed national letters of intent to play athletics at the collegiate level. Here's just a few of them. some of the schools, Grand Valley, Central, Wayne State, ST4, the Saints, Siena Heights actually, which is the last year that you'll be seeing that, unfortunately, as they're not going to be a school after this year. Alma, Michigan, Adrian, some great opportunities for our kids to go on and play sports at the next level. And I always tell them when we do our signing days, the biggest thing I said, even I say this to freshmen when they're coming in, is you're trading the next 4 years for the next 40 years of your life. The friendships that you make when you're playing sports and whatever experiences you do are going to last. You're going to be able to take those friendships with you for the next 40 years and those connections as well. We do a good thing about the spring is we get to do our senior athlete recognition ceremony. Some of them were here already. Let's go. So we start with our Hartland Scholar Athlete, is an award that I added last year. This is our second year. So it's basically the top scholar athlete who plays a varsity sport and has the highest GPA. So these were some of the female nominees. Emma Barris, who was here, top 10 student. Sadie Malik, top 10. Ava McKeag, Madeline Ray, Braden Crow on the baseball team was here. Grant Henson, Alex Hernandez, Connor Renault was just here, top 10. Jack Whitesell, another top 10. The two winners were Ava McKeag for playing basketball, was a 4.3289 GPA, and Jack Whitesell, snowboarding, 4.28. Another award that I added at the ceremony, Teammate of the Year. So this is something that the coaches nominate. So we had 3 female nominees, Emma Dickerson, Caitlin Kelly, Tatum Wakeham, and then for the boys, it was Nolan Bell and Austin Hawkins. This is something that the coaches and the admin vote on. The coaches basically send in a nomination with a write-up of why they think the student athlete was deserving of this award. Goes out to vote. The 2 winners were Emma Dickerson for basketball and Nolan Bell for football. Emma also played lacrosse as well. And Nolan was also track. 2025 Male and Female Athlete of the Year Award. Had some great nominees for this one. For the boys, Easton Culver, 3-sport athlete, football, wrestling, lacrosse, state finalist, all-state in wrestling, part of some great lacrosse teams. Max Kotsalitis, hockey, lacrosse, part of the state championship lacrosse team his freshman year. Mike Zielinski, hockey, baseball, recent state champion. The winner for the boys was Easton Culver. Again, this is nominated by the coaches and then voted on. Just a 3-sport athlete. I know he had a tough senior year as he tore his ACL, but he still, even despite that, he had the confidence of the coaches. And even with a torn knee injury, he went on to compete at the state wrestling tournament and finish all-state. No, Max Kotsalitis, who was a nominee, was actually our Choice 1 Athlete of the Year, which is the local one with Choice 1 Bank. The female side, Grace Cooney, volleyball. Izzy DePestel, basketball, soccer. Jaden Garcia, dive and gymnastics. Izzy DePestel was the winner for the girls. A great all-around athlete for us. Her commitment, not only in the classroom, with unified sports as well. Basketball, she's just one of those players. She doesn't say much, but she leaves it all on the court and on the field, and left a great legacy for those that are following. Some student achievement. We talked student achievement, student success. So for spring, we had a great spring. Baseball, who's just here, KLAA West Division champions, district, regional, and state champions. Boys lacrosse was regional champions. Girls lacrosse, phenomenal year, regional champions, and they were state finalists. Girls soccer, KLA West Division and KLA conference champions and district champions. Archery, national champion in 3D event, back-to-back, placed 4th in the bullseye event and the world runner-up in the 3D. Track and field had 4 individuals qualified for states. First team all-state athletes, we had 1 baseball, 1 boys lacrosse, 1 girls lacrosse, 1 soccer, and 1 softball player. So she had great representation at that level. Here's some of we talked chasing titles. Up in the left is girls soccer, winning the district title. Baseball, I believe that's the district title that they won at Howell. Boys lacrosse, regional title. Here we have boys lacrosse with their regional title at Novi. Girls regional title as well, which was won here. Chasing titles, girls lacrosse state finalists. First time that they've made it that far. Coach Ryan Scomiel, a graduate of here, played here, came back. We were lucky enough to get her back coaching. We kind of took her from Brighton. She'd been there for the last couple of years, and she did a great job with the team, and I look forward to what they're going to do. We had Claire Pilak was an all-state athlete there for girls lacrosse and was the Livingston County Player of the Year as well. Back-to-back titles, our archery team that we talked about. This is us, the Hartland Eagles baseball 2025 state champs. Another photo that's going to be going up on the wall in the gym. Overall, for the year, I figured I'd do a quick recap. We had 4 KLAA league titles, 3 KLA conference titles, 4 MHSA district titles, 4 MHSA regional titles, 5 top 8 MHSA finishes, 4 top 4 MHSA finishes, 1 MHSA state finalist, 3 state champions, archery, gymnastics, and baseball, 5 individual state titles, gymnastics and wrestling, 1 national championship, 27 all-state first-team athletes, 2 All-Americans, and 29 athletes to play at the next level. So overall, it was a great year, 2024-2025. Roll of credits, spring 2025. I have to thank there's a lot of great people in this district from the admin team. James Fitzgerald, J.D. Wheeler, Jessica Gus, Patrick Board. They go above and beyond making sure that the kids know that they support athletics, going to their events, talking to them at lunch about their events, knowing what's going on. Jennifer Sogg, my administrative assistant, Mary Reschel, event coordinator. Special thank you to Melanie Cal, who is a website coordinator. She's actually stepping away from that role. Cameron Montenay is stepping in, who's one of our esports coaches, so it's going to be kind of good to have that esports presence as well while he's working with the website. Deb Cadman, Carrie Rissy, Carol Hayes in community ed, the weekend building, scheduling, and also facilities, custodial, and transportation. Again, us hosting events, softball, girls soccer districts, boys volleyball regionals, girls lacrosse regionals would not happen without a phenomenal facilities, custodial, and transportation staff to take our student athletes to and from games. Excuse me.
Board, I challenge you to visit the high school and go down to the athletic office, and you can't find your way around because there are so many trophies, and because we're out of trophy space. So, Matt, you got to work with Brian. We got to find a place to put a trophy case up and get those trophies displayed, because that office is like packed. It's crazy.
Yeah, and we're getting them labeled, and we're moving some of them down, but it's, I'm waiting for NHS season to come into play so I can get them in there to dust those trophies off and kind of reorganize that too, get some service hours. So, all right.
Mr. Hassler, I just want to say thanks for all that you do. I think one of the things that is shared with me frequently is that you are always present. You've gone to state champions, you've gone to regional. I think having you there, and I mean, I know teachers and there's coaches and parents, but I think it says a lot when the athletic director comes and supports teams and is there rooting on. I think it just, makes it all that much more special for our students to see, like, you've taken the time out of your life to come and support them. So thank you for being a great leader for our student athletes.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And I'd like to add, as somebody who's been a part of athletics for a while, how much I appreciate everything that you do. You go above and beyond, and it's very much appreciated.
Thank you.
I'm just sitting here, as a board, we're always looking at how do you raise the bar, how do you get better, and was staring at that slide with everything you've accomplished this year and thought, oh my gosh, how do you beat that? Just a phenomenal year that you've coordinated, so I appreciate that. And also the fact that you still have such a focus on the academics and the student as a scholar that shows in starting out your presentation with the GPAs and rewarding and awarding those students that perform. And it really feels that everything you're doing on the field is a benefit to that person in the classroom too, which is really important. So thank you for all your work and congratulations on a great season.
Thank you.
Congrats.
One of the things I always say to my coaches at the meeting is availability equals opportunity. So like as coaches, when we hire coaches, we want them to be available for student athletes. And again, I know coaches, a lot of times you have your season, like baseball starts in March, but they're around, they're working hard, and all of our coaches are doing that. And on the flip side, and I tell the student athletes, like, if those coaches are available, that opportunity is yours to take. It's not something that's given, but you got to work for it. And we have kids that work very hard to take advantage of those opportunities. So it's a good mutual agreement between everybody. Thank you.
And part of your presentation is what Brian's going to have to work with in the near future.
The room really cleared out for me, I guess. All right, good evening, board. Yeah, so summer is underway. I roughly have 10 weeks to tear things apart and put them back together before school starts. So we're feverishly working on Building 51 and getting that underway. The HVAC is in progress. The units actually showed up on Friday and the contractors worked on Saturday and they're working today. We roughly had 20 to 30 individuals working in the smallest building in the district. So they're working to get those units operational by startup for Wednesday. So we can keep moving on that part. The carpet is installed, which is looking fabulous. And one of those pictures is actually the new boiler system for that building. The domestic well is installed also, so there's new water in that building. We are anticipating inspections on August 1st, and then moving 51 out of Creekside and back to their building hopefully the week after that. And then Creekside teachers will have their building back. The team room is underway also. Exterior block walls were completed on Friday last week. The interior slab has been poured. And then we're going to start working on interior walls, electrical, and all the other things that have to be done inside that building. Roofing is also complete. That building, we're not anticipating completion until middle of October to end of October. We're trying to improve that start date, or that completion date, but you know, we are at the mercy of inspections and permits and things like that from the state of Michigan. So our contractors are working diligently to finish that project up. Some other projects that are happening around the district. So we did complete our door project. 16 openings were replaced throughout various buildings, so that has been completed. The lake's exterior wall is in progress right now. We're anticipating that being done for the start of school. Most likely, we will be putting temporary doors back in place because that is a requirement to have occupancy for that building. And then the windows will be in place for that building. Those should be here prior to the start of school. Just some other things going on. I thought I'd update the board. You know, while we're doing a ton of projects, and obviously that was not a complete list, the maintenance team and custodial staff are working for the new school year. So, you know, the custodians are cleaning roughly 1.1 million square feet, which is a large space. Maintenance has already performed 200 repairs, which when it comes to maintenance, they're doing repairs from just, you know, replacing pencil sharpeners, fixing curtains or blinds, all the way to replacing motors and electrical components and things like that, actuators, which are more labor intensive. Some other projects that we've done over the summer, we're doing selective concrete replacement, sidewalks such as out front in front of the boardroom, at various buildings such as farms, lakes, high school, and Creekside. We did finish repainting the gym ceiling here, which turned out fabulous. We did install a new scoreboard at farms, which will be great for farms intermediate as well as high basketball. We did replace some backboards and some other various projects also. One of the big projects we actually took on also is we've been working for a few years to recondition our gym floors. We started at Orr Creek, and then last year we did Farms Intermediate, and then this year we took on the high school. So the high school has a brand new floor for Mr. Hassler and his basketball team to excel at, as well as volleyball. And I'm sure they're excited to get on that floor this season. We do have new scoreboards that you all approved at a previous board meeting that is scheduled to ship next week, and then we will install hopefully prior to the start of school year, as well as the volleyball season. And that's my update. Any questions?
Matt, do you have any projects that you expect to come before the board next month?
I do not think so.
Okay.
I think we're a little tapped out at the moment, but there will be a future door project probably the month after that. So we have to start investigating that. I'm focusing on getting these projects done, getting the kids back in school, and then we'll start some various other selections and things like that that need to happen. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. Cool.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you. Please let your team know how much we appreciate the work that they put into everything that they're doing.
Will do. Appreciate it all.
Let's see, I think that ends Yep, that ends the superintendent's report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hughes. Next up, item 1F, call to the public. Renee, do you have any additional cards? Okay, I have one card. And just want to reiterate that, of course, we, that as speakers approach the podium, please express yourselves in a civil manner with due respect to the dignity and privacy of those who may be affected by your comments. You'll get 3 minutes, and I'll raise my yellow folder here at 2 minutes and 30 seconds to let you know when to wrap up. Dave Van Auker, please.
Well, I guess it's nice for you guys. It stays short this evening and you guys get to get home. I was looking at that agenda. I'm like, oh my gosh, long night. So I was looking over a few things, giving you a little constructive criticism here. One of the things that came up a few weeks ago or a few months ago was you're talking about your mission statement. The mission statement is actually already given, and that is in the Constitution, Section 1, Article 8. And that is actually your mission statement. I know you're writing one and you're spending time with it. I listened to the consultant and everything. You know, he's got a lot of nice things for you to think about. You guys are thinking about a lot of important stuff. It's good to set your sights on what you want to do and set goals so you can get ahead. But this is, in fact, your mission statement is the Section 1, that is religion, morality, and knowledge being necessary to good government and the happiness of mankind, schools, and the means of education shall forever be encouraged. That is, in fact, your mission statement, which, as I understand, is on your wall back there. So I don't know why it's small. Maybe it's just a general reminder for all of you what your responsibilities are, and every time you have a meeting, it reminds you of that, which is a very positive thing. But it is also your mission statement, therefore it's also worthwhile because we're in the knowledge business, we're into teaching, yes. So it'd be nice for the public to know, maybe a sign somewhere where they can actually see that and be reminded of it. You don't need to stick it up there. Your wall's already too crowded, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. But maybe over here somewhere, because I do think it's worthwhile, because we're in the knowledge business, to give knowledge and to share. And every time they come here, you give an opportunity to learn a little bit from you guys. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the wall. The wall's kind of interesting because it's kind of the good sides and the bad sides of things, because we talked about it and you guys made changes, and being willing to make changes is very important if you want to be successful and you want to move up. I've been involved with a number of very successful organizations throughout my lifetime. I've been very fortunate with that. But one of the things that they all have in common is the willingness to make adaptation and change. So the fact that you moved your posters on the wall shows that you have a willingness to make adaptations and change. Now, what I would also suggest, and I know everybody's going to spend your money and do things with your time, and I apologize for that, but I also know this is something that I have some understanding of and some ability in. So I offer for whatever it's worth, because that's part of our responsibility as citizens. 30 seconds, I can be fast. Clock's still a problem. Need a bigger poster, but on Hartland Living, you guys are really not the community. The schools are a subset of the community. So it doesn't need to take up space on your wall. You've actually got kind of an arrangement problem there, and you really need to be able to get rid of that because you've got trapped white spaces, what someone once told me. And then that needs to be a little bit bigger, and you simplify your message. Hopefully I haven't taken too much time. I'm really happy to see things like your successful state championships. It's really nice. I've been involved in successful state championships teams, and it's really nice. I can go back there 40 years later and the banners are there, and I can say, yeah, I knew those guys because I was one of them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on, committee and building reports. I don't anticipate we'll have too much to share, but Ms. Custodio, do you have anything that you'd like to share?
I have nothing to report.
Okay. Mr. Scott?
None.
I do not. Mm-mm.
Keller?
I did send out today the list of building assignments, so hopefully everyone got that. If you have questions, let me know, but otherwise, best wishes as you continue to branch out amongst the admin team members.
Thank you for that. Mrs. Shaw?
Nothing.
Mr. Campbell?
No, ma'am.
I just have one quick plug for the senior center. As Mr. Hughes sent out to all of us, I think just this week, maybe it was today, there are some ad spots that are going to be running now on WHMI, and they're actually for all 6 of the Livingston County senior centers. They're also going to do an on-location session with WHMI on September 4th from 11 to 1 at the senior center. It's during their annual open house, so hopefully we'll get some good traffic there too. Also, at the last advisory committee meeting, we reviewed the budget for the end of the fiscal year, and everything looked great, and they're actually going to be making a deposit of some surplus funds back into their MyLaugh account, as I understand it, Rachel. Something to the, somewhere around 13,000, I think was the number we heard at the meeting a couple weeks ago. All right, I think that's that. Moving on to item 2A, HCS Strategic Plan.
I move that the Board of Education adopts the vision, mission, beliefs, and goals established in the strategic planning process as presented at the June 16th Board of Education meeting.
Support.
Okay, motion by Mrs. Shaw, supported by Mr. Campbell to adopt the vision, mission, beliefs, and goals in the strategic planning process. Any discussion?
Yes, I do have something regarding the goals. And Mr. Keller, I think you said earlier, you asked a question regarding, or you made you asked a question regarding measurables and goals and things like that. And could you run through that again as far as what you were looking for?
Yeah, sure. So I just wanted to kind of clarify for the board and for the public that the strategic plan item that we're voting on is of the goal statements and not the objectives, which will be something that I think as each year goes by, right, we'll continue to update those objectives, and that's what I wanted to clarify. So I think in my mind, you know, we have to have a separate conversation at a future date meeting to understand and kind of digest the goals and come to some agreement on what we want those to be. Sorry, I should use the word objectives to not cause any further confusion on that.
Okay, because in the report that we received and went through, we have things in here stated as priority objectives. So, you know, these objectives that you're talking about, well, I guess I'm making a disconnect here. Do we already have objectives as listed here, or are we going to set other objectives as well?
I can answer that. So if you recall in the strategic planning process, as Greg walked us through the process, we got a number of stakeholders together. We had our strategic planning weekend, Saturday, many voices in the room. We went through the process. The goals were established in there. These are the goals you're adopting tonight. We then, Greg took all the administrative team aside. He shared with the board that the board's job was to ensure that they agreed with the vision, mission, beliefs, and goals. Now, the people on the ground actually having to accomplish the goals were tasked with developing the objectives. So the work to be done and the work that we will show the board that we're working towards. And so you have those in that document that you're looking at, and we didn't ask you to adopt those as they are tonight, but definitely we will come back at the next meeting for a discussion, because you as a board were charged with establishing the goals. You then charge us, the administrators, the superintendent, and everybody else that does the work on a daily basis to set our objectives. We've set those objectives as you see in that document. We feel those are very concrete objectives. I think Greg even said at the podium, remember in that public education, some objectives, some things that you're working on are it was completed or it wasn't completed. And so you'll see some of those types of pieces in there. But our job is to make sure that we've had the conversation about what you see in that document, what those objectives are, why we think those are important, and then we ask that you adopt those objectives based on the input from your administrative team charged with creating those objectives. So that's how it's designed, and that's how it should be taken as the Board of Education.
Okay, the concern that I have, looking at all the priority objectives for all of the goals, there is only one that has any kind of measurable number. There's only one that's really quantifiable. Realize a 3% increase in student growth. Okay, that makes sense. If you go to goal 2, for example, priority objectives, market parent perception survey results by quarter. Okay, how do we know we're doing that well? Are we going to have some sort of measurement from parent participation from last year to this year? Or there's most of these are just tasks. I'm not really seeing actual measurables with some of these things. The other items that, the mission statement and values and what have you, that's all fine, well, and good. But with the priority objectives as listed in the report, I'm not really seeing where anything is a true measurable.
I guess I'm confusing because I thought that was the question I was seeking clarification on, is the priority objectives that are listed in the presentation that's posted on our website. My understanding is that we're not including those as part of what we're binning as goals for tonight.
Not tonight. We'll talk about them at the next meeting.
Correct. The objectives will be addressed at the next meeting where we can have a discussion surrounded specifically around the objectives. Tonight, we are approving the higher level below the tactical, the more strategic.
Could anyone please just read one example just to make sure we're on the same page? I don't have it printed.
I don't have it printed either.
I don't need the mission, vision, or belief.
In the goal area?
Just the goals.
So, okay.
Yeah, I have them.
But this
I
is
have a
the
copy.
original book prior to the development of.
Academic, Mr. Keller, academic programs, culture and learning environment, communication and community engagement, personnel and leadership, finance and operations.
So those are the only goals we're voting on tonight.
That's
So,
it.
They're not even goals, those are just areas.
Those are our goal statements. Those are
So for example, for academics and programs, the strategic goal statement is Hartland Consolidated Schools will provide rigorous and student-centered educational opportunities that maximize potential. So, and then the priority objective is, as Mr. Gogoleski stated, realize a 3% increase in student growth. So we're voting solely on the strategic goal statement. We're not voting on the priority objective, the 3% growth.
Yep.
So
Okay.
I echo some of the concerns with how this kind of ended. I know everybody had a lot of excitement during the process, especially, we got feedback from almost 800 people in the community. We had a great working session and went over some of this stuff. Where I kind of got disconnected is our strategic plan says it's for 2025 through 2030. And that's what was in the proposal from MASB. And I really got excited about that because it's so forward-looking, and was excited to see some of the ideas we came up with. At the strategic plan, we did talk about goals, ideas that were going to be 5-year projects. But then this final version we got really doesn't include anything much further out than 12 to 18 months on those objectives. And so that is what's really concerning to me. Mr. Gogoleski and I attended a seminar down in Cincinnati a couple weeks ago for the School Boards for Academic Excellence. And they put on a really good a program on strategic planning. And we had a conversation with a facilitator. Should a strategic plan have goals that are, 3 to 5 years out? A lot of us involved in the corporate world or other nonprofits hear about BHAGs, the big, hairy, audacious goals, those goals that are 3 to 5 years out. And And that facilitator said, yeah, absolutely. You need to have these big picture items. You need the small stepping stones, but you need to have some of the big picture stuff too. So I guess my concern here is, the mission, vision, values, that we're looking at that, but how are we trying to make a roadmap forward for the next 5 years if all we're looking at is what we're doing this year or next year? And if you look at some of the objectives at the end of the report, there are some great ideas that would take 5 years to implement, expanding CTE, new buildings, bond projects. Those are 3 to 5 year projects, but I feel like this strategic plan as it exists doesn't take those into account at all. And I guess that's where I have the biggest issue. I really want those big goals that we can, all of us can gather around.
If I remember this correctly, Mr. Janicki at the podium steered us away from doing those large goals, 3 to 5 years, right? We kind of talked about that already. I think we've had this as a board for probably 6 to 8 weeks to kind of talk this through if we wanted to make any changes to goals. I haven't heard any of these discussions before about making any changes. I mean, if we want to look at 3 to 5 years, that's probably a conversation for another day, but we need to vote on what's in front of us here. And, what we're doing in Hartland can change in 12 to 18 months, and to set goals 5 years down the line, I mean, you think about what was happening 5 years ago. I don't know, I think you just get into I think looking at what is happening now and what things we need to happen now, and we've talked about reviewing the strategic plan and our goals at least twice a year and at least annually, right? That will give us that ability to adjust where we're going and where we want to go.
Well, I don't want to get into some silly semantics game here or whatever, but when priority objectives are written on this, and we're going to vote on this and approve this, am I going to hear a month or two down the road, well, wait a minute, we have our objectives, you voted on it, it's right there? No. Priority objectives such as this increase parent knowledge of district community partnerships. What is that? How do you measure it? How do you measure success? How do you know you're on the right track? We're going to increase it. What are we increasing? This is where I'm having a bit of a problem with some of these objectives. Now, if we're going to discuss these objectives again and come up with some concrete quantitative measurements, fine. But if we're voting on this, I don't mind voting for the goals, but I certainly don't support the priority objectives in this packet as actual objectives.
But again, it's my understanding the priority objectives that are in the packet are not part of what we're approving today, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion?
So how do we craft a motion, or does this motion catch what we have just discussed?
It doesn't have the word objectives.
But it has the word goals.
Correct.
Right.
Goal statements, right.
Well, what if we added that, exactly, statements? I think that's what's missing in this motion, to Mr. Scott's point. I think we would probably all feel more comfortable if it said goal statements.
Yeah, I fear that we have this 40-page strategic plan, and if we just vote to approve part of it, it's going to come back later that, well, we approved this 40-page document, when in reality, we're approving about 2 pages worth of text, which is the mission, vision, values, and goal statements.
So then I'd like to motion to amend that the Board of Education adopts the vision, mission, beliefs, and goal statements established in the strategic planning process as presented at the June 16th Board of Education meeting.
Okay, so a motion to amend by Mr. Keller,
Second.
supported by Mr. Gogoleski. And the motion to amend, you would like to add the word statements following the word goals in the original motion.
That's correct.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on that motion to amend? Hearing none. Ms. Custodio?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Gogoleski?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
I am a yes. Motion to amend passes. So the motion will now read that the Board of Education adopts the vision, mission, beliefs, and goal statements established in the strategic planning process as presented at the June 16th Board of Education meeting. The original motion was brought forward by Mrs. Shaw and seconded by Mr. Campbell. Is there any further discussion?
So I know there was comments about these objectives and whether or not they meet kind of the expectations of the board going into this process. So are we just going to have that discussion at the next meeting then?
I believe that is the plan. Mr. Hughes?
That's what I said, yep.
Yep, perfect.
So next meeting will, so if we have ideas on solidifying these, on making them measurable, our teachers have GRASP goals for their evaluations. I feel like we need to have some measurable objectives here. So should we submit those to someone over the next month?
I would say hang on to those. Our recommendation at the end of the day is going to be that you adopt them as written. If you want to have discussion at the table to change them after we went through the strategic planning process, then that will be up to you as the board, and we'll take that advice in whatever the board decides. So I would hang on to them until our discussion phase.
Does that satisfy everyone at the table?
But Mr. Scott, if you have ideas, I'm certainly willing to
Yeah, well, I know.
have you send them to me, so.
Yeah, I know.
I think if you've got ideas that you don't mind sharing, and obviously no discussion, no reply all, but if you can share those with the group, I think that would be appreciated.
Okay, great.
Can I add something?
Please.
I know teachers have GRASP goals and we have our strategies and things like that. The objectives the admin put together are the objectives. They don't include the measurables. We have to come up with that and talk about that, about what that measure is going to be. So we're going to recommend that the objectives are passed as they are, but then we have to have discussion about what those measurables are going to be. We didn't even get that far in the process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so do you think the admin could have those prepared for the next meeting so that as a board, we can look and say, okay, we want to realize an increase in student growth and know the timeline that we're looking at and maybe some of the tech or whatever you're going to measure?
Yeah, we still have to have those discussions, so we're going to be talking about those things anyway, so we can do that.
That was our plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess I'd like to ask if we can at least plan for the 3 to 5 year window, even though I understand that maybe year 2, those things might need to change, but I think if we're not looking at them now and keeping them on the radar, and then again, consciously deciding, nope, this doesn't apply next year, the following year, then you can kind of pivot as necessary. But I think if it falls off the plan, then I think we lose sight of it. And I think there was a lot of them which is why I've been kind of harping on whether or not we're approving objectives today, is because there's a lot of them that aren't on there that I wanted to see. And since they're not in our year 1 window, I'm concerned that we're not going to be working towards those.
I think a lot of the confusion is in the definition of goals, objectives, and measurables. And that's one thing maybe that we didn't clarify enough when we started this. But if you're saying, Mr. Minsker, that we are going to set those measurables later, okay, then I can agree to that.
And to go back to what you were saying, Greg, is when the administrative team met, we did look at things, okay, what's our first year priority out of the things that came out of the list from our Saturday meeting? What maybe could be pushed back to year 2, because we're gonna have to reevaluate what does this look like next year and do those objectives look like. And so we did have some of those conversations with our team, and a lot of it will depend on how things go this year, but we picked as a group of admin what we felt was an appropriate starting point.
Yeah, okay. So again, if you can kind of map out year 2 and 3, that way we can kind of see how it all fits together, that would be great.
Yeah, so as, just as an example, so goal area 5, finance and operation. HCS will be fiscally responsible while providing quality services in a safe and well-maintained learning environment. And I know when 40 of us were in a room doing the workshop, safety was a big centerpiece of that. And we talk about safety, and we have probably 6 or 7 ideas related to safety at the end of the report, but the priority objectives for goal 5 don't really contain anything safety related directly. Now, maybe there's some intent in there with some of them, but I think we just need to close the loop a little bit on that and say, okay, let's make sure our priority objective is related to safety, since there were some safety concerns from the community, from teachers, from board members. I'd like to see those in the priorities. So right now, just for those who don't have it in front of them, because it was not included in the board package, priority objectives for goal area 5, finance and operation, are plan for a bond, review wage scales for non-union staff, and complete a technology assessment.
And for reference, for those in the community or those listening in, you're correct, it was not included in the bond or in the board packet, but it is available on the website.
Yeah, but it's two months in a row it was not included in the board packet, even though there were requests from the board to share it with the community in that board packet.
Well, and that would also keep us in compliance too with our agenda policy.
Yeah,
Any further discussion?
I was told last month, I asked why it wasn't in the board packet, and I was told it'd be in this month's board packet, and it wasn't again. So I feel like those in the community who are provided the board packet, who go to seek out that information, and I realize it's not a lot, but those that do, I think should see everything that we're discussing, and this was left out.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Again, the motion on the table, presented by Mrs. Shaw, seconded by Mr. Campbell, is that the Board of Education adopts the vision, mission, beliefs, and goal statements established in the strategic planning process at the June 16th meeting. Ms. Custodio.
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
Mr. Gogolewski.
Yes.
Mr. Keller.
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Motion carries. Item 2B, Universal Preschool.
I move that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent and the assistant superintendent of curriculum and instruction, authorizes the district to establish a universal preschool program and to enter into an agreement with the newly formed Livingston County GSRP Consortium.
Support.
Motion by Mrs. Shaw, support by Mr. Campbell. Do I hear any discussion?
Yeah, I just, I want to thank Mr. Minsker and Rachel for meeting with me over the past week to kind of talk through some of my concerns about what we're voting on today. I think, first of all, I do support, making more preschool more accessible for kids. I think I may have a different approach than kind of what the state is looking to do, but I certainly can appreciate that that's not necessarily a Hartland issue. That's an issue with Lansing. I guess if it's me, I would give the money to the parents to decide, whatever market solution they wanted to use for preschool. I would prefer that the state took that approach, but understandably they did not. But having said that, I still have, some concerns that locally, even though it's LESA and it's still local, I would still prefer that all decisions be made, by this local board and by the local staff, and that there's less muddying of the waters by adding another entity that parents and staff even have to sort of navigate through if they have issues. I am hoping that if this is adopted, that LESA will put together some type of guidance or book or manual or something so that staff and parents, if they have disputes or issues, that there's a resource for them to kind of follow through, so they know that if I have an issue about X, I can go speak with Y, and that there's a way for them to try to remedy that. I do worry long-term about what this project or program will do just to the local small businesses who do run preschools and who do compete against the free education business. I think ultimately my concern is that that's going to continue to expand, and it's going to sort of squeeze out the market, or obviously a free choice relative to something that someone's going to have to pay for. I do have concerns with that. And in general, I have not yet come across an industry where the government version runs more efficiently and cost effectively than what you can find in the private sector. So, again, those are my concerns, but understand that those are maybe concerns in Lansing and not here in Hartland. I do have confidence that whatever the board does, the team will do its best to work through any of the challenges that we may be faced with. I would ask that any periodic updates are shared with the board so we can kind of understand how things are going. Obviously, there's an exit clause in this contract, and so if we choose to, as a board, that gives me a little bit of hope, I guess, that we do have a sort of an exit clause that we can utilize. And then I think, lastly, I'll just say, I'd ask the team, the admin team, to please share any recommendations with the board on what we could use collectively to sort of evaluate whether or not it makes sense to continue next year with this process. So, and again, thanks for sharing your thoughts with me as a admin team.
To touch on one thing you said about the communication piece, there will be handbooks, parent and staff handbooks that will outline all the procedures and all those things. Those are being developed.
Dave, I'm sorry. Will those handbooks be something that we then approve as we would handbooks for the high school?
No, that's the
elementary?
consortium.
That's all through
That's
there?
all the GSRP classrooms in the county.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Just a quick question regarding the, although it's for a very young age group, is there any way to review the type of curriculum that they're going to present to the students, and just what exactly is going to be presented to them, and where would we find that?
It's called Creative Curriculum. I've already reviewed it. So is everybody in the county. I'm on the committee that put all this together. And so that's a curriculum that's state approved because it links to all the state standards. It's 3-year-olds, so it's very basic fundamental things that you have to go through, but it's very consistent with that age group and early childhood and the skills that they need to do. And I reviewed it and it's all fine.
Okay. Well, even though it's for 3-year-olds, I still, I don't want to just accept anything that the state approves, but I'd like to see it as well.
Yeah,
So
we've used that curriculum for a few years now. It's not just starting now. We've always used it.
Okay.
So, Ms. Boyes, is this completely financially neutral? Are there any financial pitfalls, chances that we have to start coming out of pocket just to supplement or support the programs?
Not for this program, no. GSRP is reimbursement based, so you only get what you spend. You don't really have an opportunity to make money, but you don't have that opportunity to lose money either, unless, if you have an issue with numbers, because what they do is they allocate a certain number per pupil. So if you don't have classrooms that are full, but you have the full cost that you can't cover, that's where the issue would come into play. From what I understand, the classrooms that we have set for next year are all full. Is that, yep. So I don't see there being an issue in that regard.
How does that look as this grows, space and staffing? What's the plan for that? Or is there any projections looking out that LESA, the state's provided?
What we plan on doing, because a lot of school district has space, we're limited to space. So as we convert we're adding these classrooms to the 51 building. So as we move through that process, as we are able to increase the number of classrooms, then we'll make decisions on the rest of the classrooms that are there. So right now, it remains a GSRP and childcare center, and then eventually you're seeing how full you can get. Could be something down the road, again, under bonding for, is there a time where we see growth in the district and we have to build a new building? Maybe something happens there if this is really successful down the road.
Is there any further discussion? All right, the motion on the table, again, brought forward by Mrs. Shaw, supported by Mr. Campbell, universal preschool. Ms. Custodio?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Gogolewski?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
And I am a yes. Motion passes. Moving on to item 2C, School Bond Loan Fund.
I move that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the Chief Financial Officer, approves the School Loan Revolving Fund Annual Application as presented.
Support.
Okay, motion presented by Mrs. Shaw, supported by Mr. Campbell. Is there any discussion?
Just want to say I was happy to see the number is smaller this year than it was last year, so thank you, Rachel.
It's not me. It's just, as luck would have it, I can't take credit for that one. It is nice to be in a pay-down status, so, you know, there is a mandatory date that you have to have that balance paid off. I believe it's 2035, but as things stand right now, we anticipate that being much sooner.
Okay, any further discussion? See, motion on the table for school bond loan fund, brought forward by Mrs. Shaw, supported by Mr. Campbell. Ms. Custodio?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Gogolewski?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Motion passes. Moving on to item 2D, which came from our consent agenda, which is the authorization of designees for treasurer and secretary responsibilities.
I move that the Board of Education designates the superintendent or CFO as treasurer and secretary designee.
Support.
Motion by Mrs. Shaw, support by Mr. Campbell, authorization of designees for treasurer and secretary. Any discussion?
Yeah, I sent the board some information or some concerns on this. I appreciate we're, trying to follow our policy, right, which is what we should do. But I had some concerns about the lack of clarity around the motion. And so I think as a board, if we're delegating our authority, we need to have a better understanding, I think, of what the legal ramifications are of that delegation. So I would ask that, the board consider postponing this at least until we have a better understanding of what that means.
So would you suggest, Mr. Keller, moving this to have the discussion at a policy meeting?
No, rather I would, to not take any more time in this meeting, I would actually move to postpone this item to next month's meeting so that we have an opportunity to get more information. And that way this board has all the information that they need to make a decision as to whether or not we truly want to, designate carte blanche authority to others, or if we want to refine the motion to be something more specific in scope.
But however, this is like a copy and paste from that policy that we have. So really, we would have to update the policy to match what we're adopting, right? Wouldn't one have to follow the other? If this, I think, is almost word for word what's in, I don't remember the policy number that Mr. Hughes sent us today, but I would think we would have to update that policy if we're going to change what this says. I mean, all of these come right from that policy of our organizational meeting.
Right, but it does say, per O-154, it does say, it designate an administrator to assume and I'll keyword here, specified responsibilities of the treasurer and secretary. And I don't believe this motion captures what the specified responsibilities are. So for that reason, I'm offering up that we postpone, what this motion would capture. And again, I understand that was in the policy, but the previous 2 years I've been sitting here for organizational meetings, we've not done this. So this is something that we're doing now. And again, thank you for doing it, but I think we need to understand it more.
So personally, as far as I'm concerned, this should go to policy and be stricken from the policy. We did this because what we've heard from the board, some members of the board, is that we're not putting everything in the organizational meeting that's in the policy. So we put it in there. And this is an emergency in case something were to happen. Let's say you're on vacation as a treasurer and we have to sign a bank loan because we need to do something really quickly, And so we just have to have some latitude. We don't need to do that. I don't think it's ever happened since I've been superintendent that we've had to do anything in an emergency setting. Therefore, probably the reason why we've not put it on the organizational meeting agenda in the past. But because we were called to task of following the board policy as it is, as far as I'm concerned, you can postpone it to your policy committee and strike it from the policy committee, and that way you don't have to give us authority to do anything in an emergency situation, but it might require a special meeting to have it as quick as possible to get 4 members in the room to say, we need to sign this and we need to get it done. Now, we have done business that way in the past.
But the motion could also delegate that authority for a treasurer or secretary to a president, a vice president, some other member of the board if we chose. So again, I think there's a lot to consider, and I think we should at least postpone it. Potentially, policy is ultimately what we need to do to tighten this up later, but I think as of today, I don't know that it is prudent to vote on it now.
Yeah, I did not interpret it as emergency use because if you read the policy, that word, what was the word, specific duties, and then if you look at the policy for the treasurer's responsibility, we're really assigning all treasurer responsibilities to the CFO and superintendent, all secretary responsibilities to the CFO and the superintendent. And so I guess that's where I took pause to say, is that really the intention of the board? That the secretary and treasurer will have 0 responsibilities, because that's pretty much what this motion does. There's nothing to say it's emergency. If you look at the policy for those positions, we are assigning all duties. So we're essentially, as a board, saying our secretary and our treasurer are purely symbolic. They are going to give their signatures to the administrators, and the administrators can affix them to checks, diplomas, meeting minutes without any approval of those individuals. If I would not want that personally to have that responsibility. Mr. Keller and I had an experience where I got a reimbursement check and he said, oh, my signature's on there. He never signed the check. He never approved the check, but his signature goes on every check even though he doesn't have a chance to review them. So this is not emergencies, this is all duties being given over. So I think as a board, we need to decide if that's truly what we intend to do.
Sorry. So if I'm hearing you correctly, Mr. Scott, you're saying that the verbiage is what you would like to see changed with emergency, you and Mr. Keller.
Emergency that only came from Mr. Hughes' email. There's nothing in the policy or the motion that makes any reference to emergency use.
And that's what you would like to see changed?
I guess
prior.
I would like, if we're going to designate responsibilities, I'd like them to be itemized and spelled out so that there's no question later on about what we as a board decided to do. And if that is full responsibility, if we say, hey, our treasurer is just a figurehead and a signature, which it has been for, however long, then that's fine, but that's a decision we make as a board.
You see that, Mr. Keller, in your experience, to have that review of all those items? I mean, not having that seat before, is that something you would see as appropriate, or is that too significant of a task to go through? I get it, some discomfort having your signature on things you didn't know was going to go through, but is that, how much goes through with his signature on it?
Rachel, checks?
You sign a signature card every year, and that's what gets printed on the checks. And then your review of those checks, yes, it does happen after the fact, but those checks are included in that packet. So, I mean, that's the process that it's been. And it's what it is. You'll have to sign it again, because we'll have to do a new one, because we have a new president and a new secretary. So I'll bring that to you for the next meeting. And then those 3 names will go on all the checks.
And we really can't think of anything else besides that we assign your names to. And again, the only thing I can think of is in an emergency situation where we would sign our gas lease. That we don't have time. They say, hey, you got a 1-week window to get this done. Might be a reach out to say, hey, can we sign this? Hey, treasurer, we're signing this on your behalf or whatever. It could be an emergency situation, but in most cases, we'd have time to have a emergency meeting, try to get 4 board members together and say, hey, can we get this done as a special meeting? So that's how we see it, but you guys can change it.
So what is the role of the treasurer? Because if we have a role of the treasurer and they have 5 duties, and we as a board say all 5 of these duties are now assigned to administrative staff, then what is the role of the treasurer? I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out. They have no role.
Double check numbers.
It's noted in policy 0171, same as it is with secretary, president, vice president. So again, I think it's kind of a bigger discussion, more broad discussion as a board. So, again, that's why I'm recommending we at least have some more time to think about how we want to handle this and that we postpone to next month for action.
Wouldn't it be more appropriate for the policy meeting, though? I agree with the postponement, but if it's affecting policy, we're having policy meeting, at least to discuss it there, and then still move to making an action item at the next board meeting after discussion during policy?
But if you've already made the designation, then what would it matter?
So then just resolve it at the policy meeting.
But you've already delegated the authority, is what I'm saying. So how can you do it the other way around? Because you need to understand what you're delegating first before you can decide whether you want to delegate, not just delegate and then figure out what you just delegated. I think it has to be delegate second.
So we need to either vote on the motion as it is, or someone needs to make a motion to postpone this vote now.
Correct. So if Mr. Keller, if you would like to make that motion, we can vote on whether or not to postpone it. We can still postpone it to the August meeting. There's a proposed date for a policy meeting that would take place before that, where we could address the policy side of it.
Right.
And still have that discussion in the August whatever meeting. That's
So
that date's in question.
Is it the current interpretation of our policies, of our bylaws, that we have to designate all treasurer and all secretary duties to administrators? Is that the current interpretation?
It's not my interpretation. My interpretation is it includes the words, I think it's the word specified.
Specified.
That was in that. So when it says specified, that doesn't say to me all.
But if I read what's on the table, right, it says that the Board of Education designates the superintendent or CFO as treasurer and secretary designee. So it doesn't specify what we're designated.
Correct, because the policy says specified. This just says who those people are that we're designating, and then per the policy, we have to designate someone. The policy says it's for specified. I agree that it's still vague, that we haven't specified exactly what those are, and that's a great policy discussion. But to me, this is simply following the policy, saying that we're designating. It doesn't say exactly what duties, agreed, but it's saying we're designating, we're following the policy. The policy is what needs some more work.
But the policy does say a specified responsibility. So this motion doesn't match our policy. So you'd either have to change the motion to designate what you're specifying, or we have to postpone it. And I just thought for purposes of not belaboring this topic, we would just postpone it.
Then, if you would like to postpone, make a motion.
So I move to postpone that the Board of Education designates the superintendent or CFO as treasurer and secretary designee.
Support.
Motion to postpone the current motion on the table brought forward by Mr. Keller, supported by, was that you, Mr. Scott?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
You
you.
want to specify postpone to? We've had that issue in the past.
Postpone to the August meeting?
To the next meeting, yes.
August, the regular.
Regularly
August meeting.
scheduled meeting.
Support.
Thank you. Discussion on the motion to postpone.
So tonight, we've elected a secretary, we've elected a treasurer. Do they have any responsibilities?
What's listed in the policy? Those are their responsibilities.
Yeah, we have a major disconnect with the actual policies of 0713 and 0714, which needs some rework because these are,
Understood?
Yeah.
Got it? Noted? But is there any discussion pertaining to the motion to postpone? Okay. For the motion to postpone the authorization of designees for treasurer and secretary responsibilities, the motion to postpone was brought forward by Mr. Keller, supported by Mr. Scott. Ms. Custodio?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Gogolewski?
yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
I am a yes.
You can just move to the next one now.
Yes, since that has been postponed, that original motion is no longer on the table. We're moving to item 2E, adoption of board meeting dates.
I had a request, I have a request to,
We
have
should
to
read the motion first.
Okay.
Can somebody read the motion?
I move that the Board of Education adopts the proposed meeting dates for 2025-2026 as presented.
Support.
Okay, motion by Mrs. Shaw, supported by Mr. Campbell, adoption of board meeting dates. Any discussion?
yes, the proposed board meeting for August 11th. I originally on my calendar kind of set aside the 18th, not realizing the conflict with the first day of school, and I realize that's, that's quite a D-Day in itself. So I realize the need for change, but is it possible to maybe move that date further into the week, such as the 19th as opposed to the 18th? And I'm only asking this purely on personal reasons. My calendar for travel just is booked in August, so.
Given that there's several calendars to consult,
Yeah.
because obviously I would want to have Chuck and his team present and availability of the room.
Yeah.
Could we consider amending the list of meetings to remove or reconsider the August meeting and pass the other dates so that we can get those locked in and then we can revisit? I don't know how the timing would be for that.
Would we have to call a special meeting then in order to
meet again?
have the regular meeting? So I think we would, maybe we should just talk out loud if we can all make the 19th?
Could we talk about it at the policy committee meeting, or is that only for policy?
It's a public meeting.
So we could, right? Well, it's proposed. It's on the agenda, proposed date of August 4th for a policy committee meeting. That would give everyone time to make sure that, so we're proposing August 19th.
I can say I have a conflict with the policy meeting, to put that out there now, and the 19th.
Okay.
I think it's just going to be
I have a,
Tough with logistics.
I have a conflict with the policy meeting.
Okay, that's a proposed date.
Yeah, that,
But Mr. Campbell, you are available on the 11th?
I am.
I do have a conflict with the policy meeting, but the policy meeting, since we're not voting on anything, making decisions, any thoughts I can communicate with the board as a whole via email and just do it that way. Yeah.
Potentially could look at the 25th. That would be the fourth Monday, if Mondays are better. And we just move it out a week. Does that work for you, Mr. Kowalski?
No, that doesn't. No, no.
Then
Hey,
it's hard.
other than the 19th, that's it. So,
Well, you can get 6, so that's a quorum.
I mean, we might have to just
Right.
leave it on August 11th.
Yeah.
or we could all spend our Friday nights, maybe. Maybe not.
We won't have a quorum, Glenn.
There definitely won't be a quorum. But we would have a quorum on the 11th. If Mr. Gogolewski is unable to attend, would we still have a quorum?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Okay, the motion,
Sorry, is the 18th is just absolute no way? I mean, I know it's a busy day, but just not possible, not feasible. Can we just move the first day of school?
I would not do that to, we should not do that to our staff and teachers and principals and.
too much, I feel. Okay. Hearing no further discussion, we're back to the motion on the table, which is adoption of board meeting dates. Let's see, it was brought forward by Mrs. Shaw, supported by Mr. Campbell. Mrs. Custodio.
Yes.
Mr. Scott.
Yes.
Mr. Gogolewski.
Yes.
Mr. Keller.
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. That passes. Okay. Item 3A, resolution to designate legal counsel for discussion.
So I can jump off here. So, I put together a resolution, shared with the board, asked that it be added to the agenda that designates and expands the legal counsel available to the Board of Education and to the district. And so a little history, I like to spend time looking at what other districts are doing, reviewing policies as we change. A lot of districts make similar policy changes at the same time. And in looking through a lot of other districts, what I'd found is that most districts in the state of Michigan do include a designation of legal counsel resolution during their organizational meeting. And at that time, they identify usually 2 to 4 law firms that the board is authorized to conduct business with. And I think we had asked Mr. Hughes a few months ago about our relationship with our current legal counsel and to see the retainer. And I think we found it had been quite a few years since we had even opened this door or investigated opportunities. So I kind of put together this resolution as a jumping off point. I do believe that this, and have asked that this be added to our policy committee agenda as well. Our legal policy is 1 sentence and is very, very vague. Some people interpret it very narrowly, and some people interpret it very broadly. And so I think that brings an issue. So we have very little policy on legal and practically no procedural rules other than kind of these unofficial rules that we as the board hear about, but are never anywhere in writing. So my idea is to expand the number of law firms that this board and the district has the ability to consult, realizing that there are different firms that have different specialties, and may be able to deal with different issues. Also realizing that our current law firm is, I don't know if everybody saw the MASB update. MASB has pulled their support of Neola, and now they're supporting Thrun as their policy provider. So I think that's going to probably eventually put us in a position where we literally have all our eggs in one basket, where we no longer have any recommendations for Neola, from Neola for policies, et cetera. And Thrun is our legal counsel and our policy legal counsel. And we could get in a position where we need alternative viewpoints, alternative legal answers, and are bound because we don't have an option. So there's two things that this resolution does. One, expand the firms that we're able to go out to. And two, I'd like to find some policy, even if it's short term, until our policy committee can, some joint agreement of this board of what it takes to pick up the phone and call an attorney. I think the unofficial policy right now is only the president or the superintendent can pick up the phone and contact an attorney. I know there have been several times myself where I have wanted some legal opinion as it relates to the welfare of the school district and have not been able to have a phone call with counsel or get a legal written opinion of counsel. I think that is a dangerous situation for any of us to be in. We are not experts in everything, and there's a lot to learn and to know up here, and a lot of legal landmines to navigate. And so being a member of the board, representing the constituents of this community, and being denied access to legal counsel that relates to the welfare of the district, I think is a very dangerous position. So my proposal in this resolution is that we give more people the ability to reach out to legal counsel. I'm fine if those opinions are shared with everybody. I'm not looking to hide anything. But I think each and every one of us deserves the ability, the right, to get that legal advice on behalf of the welfare of our students, our staff, et cetera. You know, I put in the resolution that any two board members, and there's been concern about, you know, one person running up the bill or whatever, so I had in here any two board members could agree to pick up the phone and call an attorney. But in talking to some of the attorneys on this list I put together, who many of whom interpreted our policy very broadly to mean any one of us should be able to pick up the phone and make a call, not any two, any one. There's nothing in our current policy that prohibits that. So maybe this is too narrow. Maybe we need to broaden it, that any one of us should be able to pick up the phone and receive legal advice if it benefits and directly relates to the welfare of the district. So that's what I have put in here that was included in the packet. I look forward to discussing it.
Just to clarify for the board, you're correct on Neola and the MASB situation. However, we did get notified by Neola, who uses Varnum Law, which is a very respectable law firm, and they continue and will continue to provide us policy through Neola with no issues in the near future.
In the near future, absolutely. But I think, you know, the signal from MASB is probably that Neola is not long for this world, and they've had a lot of changes as of late. So right now, Neola, you know, they're not perfect, and we've had discussions, but they have 4 or 5 law firms, 6 law firms maybe, that contribute to those policy changes. So if that goes away, we're going back to just one resource.
Mr. Scott, I do want to say thanks for putting this together. It's something that, as a board member, I've struggled with, admittedly. So I think this thing does two things that I'm excited about. One is expands who we can work with as a district, because I think, you know, just like there's not one single board member that sits up here that makes decisions, there should not be just one single voice that provides us with legal advice and opinion. The second thing that I really appreciated is, you know, whether or not we can have more than just one person pick up the phone. And I think that's the right direction, because at the end of the day, all of us are up here and we represent people in this community, and when certain members are not allowed or provided with legal access, I think, that's telling the community that their voice didn't matter, and that's something that I wholeheartedly reject. So I appreciate the attempt to sort of broaden what the current protocol has been with respect to legal coverage.
And I personally don't see how any one of us can be held responsible for setting policy if we can't access legal advice. So
I like the expansion. My concern and thought would be if all 7 of us call with a question and accrue fees for the services, how would that work? And I wonder if we happen to call with the same question, but to different law firms, and we don't know what each other are doing, maybe that would be the benefit. I do see the issue of 1 to 2 people controlling that contact, but if there's that communication before we do reach out, perhaps, and then we don't run up those legal fees, because I see, it was good, Jeff, you noted the, within the normal boundaries and limits of the district procurement policies and procedures. But I imagine there's a fee every time you call for legal advice, and if we get a bill all of a sudden, just to establish that communication, which will help the board grow together too, as we reach out.
Yeah, so I understand, and so to be clear, I put on here, I don't know, 9 or so law firms. My intent is not to actually end up with that many law firms on the list. I just kind of went through what other school districts were using, found law firms that had a specialty in education, and kind of gave the list, and then some other board members, I believe, added a couple suggestions. So my idea is not that we work with 9 law firms, but that we can maybe pick a few to work with. I actually asked one of the law firms that question. It's a law firm on here that they specialize more in giving board advice rather than doing what Thune does with policy and bonds and all that sort of stuff. And they gave me a couple examples, and maybe, I don't want to speak for them, but maybe they could give us some more hard details. I asked that question, and he said one board they work with, and any of the board members can reach out to them anytime, and their average annual bill is about $4,000. So for the board advice. So it's not a lot of money. And we could certainly put some controls in place if needed, if people thought that was appropriate. But most of these are billing, 7-minute increments, and a 15-minute phone call might cost $75 or whatever. But I think the advice we're getting is well worth what we're paying. And I would suspect that most in the community would assume that we already have the ability to do this. If you talk to other school boards, a lot of them, what do you mean? I pick up the phone and talk to my attorney whenever I have a question. I think we're an outlier here in the fact that our board is handcuffed, and in the fact that we only have a single firm. The other item of note, if I can remember my train of thought on that. I don't remember where I was going, but I think we do need the ability to pick up the phone and get advice. There's times I wonder if there's something I can legally say at this table. We all know things that happen in the school, and can we legally bring them up? Can we legally discuss them? Those are questions that I think we deserve answers to, not somebody's interpretation of maybe a phone call that they might have asked legal counsel. If everything gets filtered down to, somebody asks a question and then gives a verbal, who gives a verbal and a recap, you're not getting the attorney's advice. You're getting some secondhand interpretation. Also, as far as the Open Meetings Act goes, gatekeeping is decision-making. So if somebody prohibits you from getting legal advice on one thing or another, that is the same as trying to shape the decision. And that's, I think, what we're trying to avoid here. If I'm prohibited from getting legal advice on something I want to bring up at the table, then I'm probably not going to bring it up because I don't know what the legal ramifications are.
So I shared with you, Mr. Scott, my concerns and changes to this. I don't think it's appropriate that it's a resolution. This should be brought to a policy committee. I
Agreed.
agree we should have something in writing about how we contact legal. I don't agree to a lot of the items that you have in here, especially two board members being able to contact attorneys. We just had discussion for 3 months about $60,000 of an agreement with the township. I have never been told I can't contact legal. I think the board president does have the authority to speak on behalf of the board. And I have no problem with putting something in policy, but I think this resolution, to me, we need to make sure that it's still going through the board president or the superintendent. I anticipate it's going to cause chaos. If two board members are able to act and speak on behalf of the board and ask questions, I don't think that that's a good policy and plan that we should be put in place for this board.
I think there's some simple controls that can take away that thought of people just contacting an attorney at the drop of a hat. There really are. One, you can make it known as far as what you want to contact the attorney for ahead of time.
I wasn't finished, by the way.
Oh. Go ahead.
So my other, concern too, and I asked Mr. Scott probably 10 questions which have still gone unanswered. When have we received poor legal advice from Throne? I have no problem with getting, maybe looking at some other law firms or reaching out to them, but, Throne is the expert in public education in the state of Michigan. When have we received poor legal advice? That was one of the questions that I asked. And are we going to continue to ask law firms the questions until we get the answer we want? That's my concern, is that we're just going to go down the list. And what if we need to contact a law firm that's not on the list? If we're looking for a specialized attorney, which will take board action. How we have handled it in the past is that, as needed, we've contacted other law firms for legal advice at the superintendent's discretion. I agree we should have a policy in place so that we all know how this works and that we have a policy. But a resolution, again, you are the one who authored a resolution in December for a policy committee, and we haven't had any. This would be a perfect example to bring to a policy committee.
And
I think you just illustrated, though, why it's important to have the resolution, because we haven't had a policy committee yet, and it's going to take some time.
It's not
So
up
with the
to the-
resolution, you're basically making a declaration to the community that you're going to work on something.
Who is it up to call a policy committee meeting?
The board.
That was my idea.
The board, right. The board has not called one. You haven't called one.
Right.
I haven't called one. Mr. Scott hasn't.
I don't
It's been
set the
8 months.
agenda.
So to be clear, in my email to the board with this resolution, I did recommend that this go to policy committee. I guess my issue is our current legal policy does not prohibit us from picking up the phone and calling an attorney. So I guess we're just coming, I think I should be allowed to pick up the phone and contact an attorney based on our current policy, because our current policy is one sentence. What I'm trying to do here is put something in place. As I said, most districts in the state do set their legal during their organizational meeting. We haven't done that in quite a while, so I'm just trying to kind of reignite that idea of setting out the school year with everybody being on the same page. I'm glad that you've been able to access legal advice. I have had a few instances where I've asked for legal opinions and been denied. That puts me in a really tough spot. And these are not off-the-wall issues. These are, issues of literally, do I have a legal right to review information? If somebody tells me, if an administrator tells me I do not have a legal right to review information generated by this school district, and I'm not allowed to get a legal opinion otherwise, I'm a little concerned. That's what I'm talking about. And I never said Thrune doesn't offer good advice or it offers poor legal advice. I just think that as most districts do in the state, we need to have more than one option, more than one specialty. Again, one of these firms I interviewed offers, that's their specialty, is more the board member legal advice of the questions we often have around the table. You know, going into closed session, a board member should be able to talk to the attorney, say, hey, is this a legitimate reason? What, you know, if I vote for this and it's not a legitimate reason, what is the recourse? Somebody should be able to ask those questions, not just wonder or try to find, you know, some AI attorney to ask questions to.
Mr. Gogolewski.
Yeah, I think that there are some fairly easy solutions to ensure that we either don't duplicate efforts or begin asking things that are just not really appropriate to go to an attorney. That's just a matter of writing policy and writing some ideas down. I think there's easy solutions to that. I wouldn't want to see any kind of cross efforts like that myself. But in terms of having a couple of board members having some serious questions regarding the law, I can't think of a good argument as to why those board members would not have access. As a board, our names are going on policies. We're in charge of enacting things for the school district. Each one of us is going to come across issues that are going to need some professional counsel. I think we have to ensure that we have that available to us. And by enacting some guidelines or guardrails or whatever you want to call them, I think we can make sure that no one is calling a law firm to talk about their parking tickets. We can do this in a nice organizational manner. We can, so.
Mr. Scott, you mentioned that each of the firms on the list they have specialties in education. Were you able to confirm if they actually work with public school districts, like all of them?
I can't answer that for 100% certainty, but I'll give you 99%. Almost every one of these I pulled off of organizational meetings for other districts in the state of Michigan, and then reviewed the website of the attorney's office to ensure that they had some educational experience and or attorneys within the firm that specialized in education, and made a few contacts with some to confirm and gather additional information. So I would say yes, but there may be an outlier because some were added or suggested to be added by other board members.
Okay.
When I was researching this topic myself about 1.5 years ago, I can tell you that 3 on here I could definitely say yes. The others, not so much. Couldn't tell you with certainty, but definitely like Coleman, Allen, Thomas More. So.
Okay, thank you. And then I assume you know that there is a resource available through MASB, through their attorney, their counsel.
I'm happy to share my experiences with them. I asked a question once, and they emailed the administrators and said, hey, this guy's asking questions. They suggested we get our own legal opinion, and I was told by the district, no, we're not going to get you a legal opinion on that. So that's why I'm coming down this road, yeah. I'm happy to share those communications with you.
Thank you.
Ms. Coleman and the board, for Danielle's purpose as well, in my history here as a superintendent, we do have board policy and bylaws that say that the board president is the spokesperson for the board. We've always garnered that the board president kind of directs traffic, and that any time the board president has ever come to me with a concern from another board member and asked for a legal opinion, we're able to obtain a legal opinion. We share that with the board as a confidential document. Legal opinions are not foilable, are not available for the public. They are for the board and the board only to digest based on legal opinion. And anytime that that has ever happened, that process has worked to get that information out to the board. So technically, the board has access through the superintendent and the board president to have the conversation to say, I have a legitimate reason why I need to know an answer to this that has to do with the business of the board, and it's worked well for us in my tenure as a superintendent.
I don't understand the logic in a board who's in charge of the superintendent asking the superintendent's permission to contact an attorney.
It's the board president, actually.
So if the board president, so the board president can tell individual board members they don't have legal access, is our policy currently.
Whatever your conversation, how you approach it with, I would imagine.
Yeah, so that means the board president decides who gets to talk to an attorney and who doesn't.
And I can say that I have made requests for legal opinions on things, and it has been rejected. So again, I'm excited that the board is considering this resolution.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Okay, moving on to our second discussion item, item 3B. Motion, I'm sorry, not motion, that was from my notes from earlier. This is a resolution requiring PDF searchable documents for discussion.
Yeah, so I had sent this out to the board about 10 or 15 days ago as well. This one did not make the board packet, but I can read it. It's pretty short. I can read it for the benefit of those in the audience who didn't have a chance to review it. Again, it has to do with the board and the community receiving searchable PDF format documents. Whereas the Hartland Consolidated School Board of Education believes transparency and accessibility is fundamental to effective governance and public engagement in the operation of the school district, and whereas the Board of Education is committed to ensuring that all stakeholders, including board members, parents, staff, teachers, and community members, have access to information shared by district administrators, and whereas documents in searchable PDF format allow for efficient navigation, text searching, and accessibility for individuals using assistive technologies, and whereas existing district technology makes it feasible for administrators to produce searchable PDFs without undue burden, now therefore be it resolved that all documents other than text emails prepared, submitted, or shared by the district administrators with the school board and/or with the general public, including but not limited to reports, agendas, minutes, budgets, policies, and informational materials, shall be provided in a searchable PDF format. Be it further resolved that in cases where a searchable PDF cannot be produced, administrators shall provide a written explanation to the school board and, where feasible, include text-based alternative transcripts or summaries. So that's the resolution. I'll give you a little background on this. Prior to being on the board, I had submitted several FOIA requests to the school district. And what I continued to find is the FOIA requests would come up fairly empty. And once I was on the board and sat in the seat, I realized how the district communicates, and that is in pictures. So all documents, most documents that this board receives are scanned as images and then sent to board members. That includes our weekly updates, our board packages. So that means that they're not searchable. That I think is a disservice to the community when it comes to transparency. I think it's a disservice to us as board members when we're asked to track and navigate a slew of information that comes at us, but are literally unable to find the information because it's all shared in pictures. I've had private conversations. We've had at least one conversation at the board table, and my request has been very simple, that the documents shared with the board, the documents shared with the community, be shared in a professional, searchable manner for everybody's benefit. You'll see a presentation be given up here at the podium from time to time. We receive those in advance, but again, as images, literally, instead of save as PDF, somebody prints it, scans it in low resolution, sometimes scribbles some notes on it, and sends it to us. I think it's unprofessional, and I think it makes our jobs much more difficult. You know, when we talked about check registers, the treasurer gets check registers not in a searchable format, where we have 40, 50 pages of checks. We can't go through and search them or look for names or find them. If they're in our email, we can't just search ABC vendor to find out where the checks are. We would literally have to go back and open every single PDF and search it. So it's really simple. It's a simple ask from the board that the information we receive be searchable. Another example, I believe, like it relates to the legal. A few months ago, I had requested a copy of the retainer agreement from legal counsel. Well, it ends up in an update in a picture format. So now today, if I want to go find that retainer agreement, I'll never find it. I can't search the legal name. I can't search retainer because it came as a picture inside an email that had virtually no text. So the emails we get are pretty much text-free. Now the forward-facing documents that the community sees on the website, you'll notice have the same issues. I believe there's issues with accessibility. That's why I've included in here that the formats we use be available for those that need assistive technology. So people who have sight issues, et cetera, can still find ways to view our materials and participate in our meetings.
Is there any further discussion on this resolution?
Mr. Hughes, I know you had emailed us about some information. Would you provide an update?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Mr. Scott sent all this out as I was going on vacation, so I didn't have a chance to. Actually, I worked more on my vacation, my wife said, than I've ever worked before, unfortunately. So just goes to show you, superintendent can't go on vacation. But I have reached out to Mr. Usher, our technology director, Mr. Minsker, and Ms. Gregory, and asked them to just pull some thoughts together. I came back to the district today. We'll start working on some thoughts. Mr. Usher has already started going back through our website, making sure that everything is ADA compliant. We do have board policy. I would recommend the board take a look at 7540.02. If anything, the board should, in my opinion, just point to this policy and say, hey, make sure that we're ADA compliant on our websites, make sure that we're ADA compliant with what we put out on our websites for people to see. It's not an easy function, to be honest with you. Mr. Usher does periodically randomly check certain websites here and there to see functionality. That would be a full-time job for somebody to check every single website in the district and every single department website and this and that, but he does that randomly. He's going to continue that. He's actually asked me for some things today that I'll send him to repost that would be ADA compliant. I'll ask him to run some compliance on other websites, to be honest with you. Supreme Court, DOJ, Livingston County Commissioner's Office, Livingston County Sheriff's Office, different entities to see how we compare in regards to errors versus non-errors, and to see if, and probably share that with the board, hopefully, so you can see where we sit on our ADA compliance on our websites and how they is in line with others, or are we in better shape, worse shape? But we appreciate that Mr. Scott has brought this to our attention, as he should as a board member. We embrace that. We'll go back to our policy as it exists, and we'll double check things and make sure that we're compliant where we need to be compliant. So under the rules that we have to be compliant under.
But I believe it was your position before you left that the compliance does not apply to the internal communication with the board. And so that's why I put this resolution in part, so that the communication we receive from the district is in a user-friendly, searchable format. So even if you believe that federal or state compliance issues don't apply to these internal communications, that we still, as a courtesy, get searchable documents.
Any further discussion? I thought I saw you going for your microphone. No?
I was going to stand up for Mr. Scott because I'll ask him this question, but I don't know the answer, but I think I do. Did you intentionally send an email to Mr. Hughes just prior to him going on vacation?
For this resolution, I put out.
Because I'll say, I didn't even know Mr. Hughes was going on vacation. Because not every board member was made aware of that.
We
so.
have a deadline for these meetings if you want something to get included in the agenda of the Friday. What's the deadline? It's about 10 days in advance.
5 days, actually.
And I know.
Which you were well in advance.
I know there's been some complaints at the table about that timeline. I believe I provided these about 10 days ago, or maybe a little bit more. I tried to take into account feedback from those at this table about the timing of documents, and I wanted to make sure everybody had a chance to review these in advance.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion on this resolution?
I think,
Okay.
so there is resolution. Is there something just to move forward with this so it doesn't just die? We've talked about searchability before, which is difficult on the website. Can we reach out to Mr. Usher to set up a meeting to discuss? That's something I can't speak to, the abilities on the technology side of things. What do we do moving forward? It's great to talk about, and there's issues. I recognize those too. I support your concerns, but how do we now what? We just talked about it for a period of time. Now, how can we move
I'd
forward?
be happy to meet with you and somebody else, and Mr. Usher and Mrs. Braden, and, you know, we've been through this, and we do what we can do to make those compliant, so.
Yeah.
Be happy to do that.
Do what you can. Maybe there's nothing else we can do, but then we have an answer, right? Perhaps we can continue communication. Small group of us. I'll reach out to Mr. Hughes and see.
So President Coleman, both these resolutions have been discussed as discussion items. Will they be action items next month?
That's our standard process, yes.
So I would say then if there's any feedback from administrators and/or trustees on the resolutions generated from meetings or your own thoughts, share them with me and I'll see if there's some tweaks we can make that meet in the middle or keep everybody happy. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to item 4A, future meetings. As was mentioned earlier in the meeting, there's a proposed date of August 4th for the Policy Committee of the Whole to discuss revised policies that we've got waiting from Neola. And then August 11th is our regular meeting, as we just approved earlier in this session, 6:30 on the 11th.
Hey, I missed something. I want to recognize Renee, by the way, for the work she has done with the agendas and adding table of contents and everything else to make it easier for people to find everything in the agenda. And you know, I don't believe she's gotten a boo of thank you, but I know she's put a lot of effort into that, and I do want to recognize Renee and thank her for that, because she has been working at that diligently. Thank you.
Saying that out loud. Okay.
President Coleman, on that, I'll be out of town. I'm chaperoning band camp on the 4th, so I anticipate my absence for that. Not to reschedule that meeting, but just to report that anticipation.
Thank you.
I too have a conflict and will not be available on the 4th.
Okay. You will not be present? Okay. All right, it's still a quorum, but maybe perhaps offline we can try to find another date that works for more people. We'll see how that goes.
Or, because it's not a meeting where we're going to make decisions, if we email everyone, at least you know what our positions are, so.
Okay. All right, we'll consider that. Thank you. Item 4B, information items. Does anyone have anything else to bring forward? Okay, then we will adjourn. It is 9:13. Thank you.